alhamdulillah. Namaskar, hello and welcome to long awaited presentations for being the civil servant contest. We wanted to commemorate the Indian Civil Services Day, which falls on 21st of April every year. But somehow the national elections pressed in and a lot of requests came in. So every year, Rethink India commemorates the UN Public Service Day, which falls on 23rd of June. And it's quite a global occasion where public service as an institution is celebrated across. And today we have got very young and enthusiastic, aspiring public servants, as we would rather like to call them, because the designations of a civil and a military kind of distinction is perhaps weaning all away. Today is quite a momentous occasion that even the UPSC, the Union Public Service Commission, which undertakes the civil services examination, which is considered to be the mother of, I would say, at a graduate level, the mother examinations for entry to the highly privileged lifelong services like the Indian Administrative Services, Indian Police Services, Indian Forest Services, so and so forth. But when we would delve deeper, that there is a whole lot of a whole gamut of civil services to opt for, and there is a larger philosophy of public service per se. So as you can see on the back of the screens, that public service, what motivates someone to take on a lifelong career in public service is not the Lal Batti. It has already gone. And public servants have got now into a huge amount of scrutiny from the general people who are actually the real masters. You all are advanced grade students, like the preamble to the Indian Constitution says that we, the people of India. So we, the people of India, are the true masters, and technically, a career in civil services or whatever, even the military services, it makes you a public servant per se. And a public service motivation, there is a whole lot of research as to what motivates youngsters. So the motivators are four, as you can see, and around this, we are expecting your presentations as to how you find yourself qualified and competent, apart from the technicalities of the subjects, whatever you choose for the mains, or that is a part of the technicality. But before that, why do you want to aspire, and why do you feel yourself competent enough to really fit in these four qualifications? Are you attracted to policy making? Policy making, you might be having some idea, but then policy, something has to be done through a policy framework. Are you attracted to compassion? Do you have that empathy, that compassion in you? And I would be requesting Dr. Surabhi to entail more on this value and virtue of compassion. And lastly, self-sacrifice. Civil services or public services per se are not, the public offices are not for merrymaking. A lot of self-sacrifice has to go out there. And there is no comparison of public services. If you're opting for them, you might be having a great amount of intellect, but that is not helpful if these three, like compassion and self-sacrifice, doesn't come to you. And last but not the least, commitment to public interest, because whatever you do, it is not for private gains, it is for the larger public interest. So that is the underlying philosophy behind the whole process of selecting civil servants or public servants, as we can call so. We all have been witnessing a whole hangama across the country over the NEET examination furor. It's leaking, and all kind of an integrity has been breached somehow or the other. But the civil services examination, as you might be knowing, because that's why you're all appearing out here. You have an aspiration, but then uh, civil services examination is a three-step process. The preliminary examination, which today lakhs of students appeared across centers across the country. 12 to 15 lakh students every year, generally, they appear for the preliminary examinations, and then only a handful of them are picked up for an elaborate mains examination, an elaborate written examination, longhand one. It's not a computerized subjective one. And then finally, the interviewing round. So these three levels, the examination framers feel that it filters the rightly spirited youngsters out there. Rethink India, at our level, our effort always remains to inspire the young learners from at the school level to aspire for their careers early on. Because whatever our aptitudes, our attitudes, if we can evaluate our own self. So this is an exercise for self-evaluation. Because if I am fitted for a job role of a doctor, because I have to then carry on that profession for 40 long years. So a career in public services, what all it entails. So it's good that if we can start aspiring for it early on, fill up the gaps, whatever we have. We can interact with a lot of our teachers, our peers, and today the knowledge is at our desktop or palm tops, as we can say. We have the right attitude and aptitude for that matter. So today we have got, I would say, a very interesting set of participants who would be making their presentations. So today is their day for speaking, but I just felt like to commemorate this occasion because it has been long past, and apologies for, I would say, advancing the date of presentation, but there was a serendipity in the cosmic design. So today the UPSC prelims happened, and today we are all out here to give our own presentation. We'll start with our youngest aspirant for civil services, and he's Arav Nayak, a student of class 9 from Christ Church School, Bangalore. And we had asked for a short introduction. So, a recommendation from his principal, Graham Hayden, sir. Uh, so, Arav wants to succeed as a civil servant. He has the necessary attributes, including strong leadership, communication, and problem solving abilities. Additionally, he has a profound grasp of governance and ethics, along with the capability to thrive in diverse settings. His dedication to public service, integrity, and a proactive attitude towards learning and growth are vital for excelling in this position. So, coming from the principal and to an aspirant of such a very, I would say, early grade, ninth grade, it's quite congratulations, Arav, for such a lovely recommendation. Over to you now to present your perspectives. And as far as the evaluation goes, let me just entail that we would be trying to observe, rather, Dr. Surabhi would be the prime, and maybe our other jury members on the YouTube or somewhere else. Your awareness about the entire universe of public service per se. Civil service is just the colloquial term largely, but in the international parlance, it is called the public service primarily, because that gives you the entire facets out there. So your awareness about the whole space per se, your appreciation, we talked about that, what all makes a public servant. So do you have it in you, associating it with your own values, ethos, because it calls for a lot of self-sacrifice, as we have already said to you. And finally, we want to see some of your applications. What's your vision? If I were the Prime Minister of India, or if I were a civil servant, or if I were the maybe the commissioner, divisional commissioner of, say, Bangalore. So what would I have done? You might be having a sensitive heart. I would have done this, I would have done that. So as a youngster, what are your aspirations yourself? What do you aspire to do? So that is the application part of it all. So we will try to grade you into excellent, very good, good, okay, subjective kind of a thing. So don't worry much. Be free and be truthful to yourself. So this is the start of a, I would say, grand beginning of a lifelong career out there. So if you have a PPT, I will just enable it across if you want to speak. So all modes are open to you. So the floor is open for Arnav. Yeah, Arnav Nayak. Yeah.
Thank
Over
you
to you,
so
Arnav.
Can I share my
Yeah,
screen?
yeah, please do so.
Thank you so much. Is it visible?
Yeah, visible. Please.
Thank you. Being a civil servant, what are my core motivations to opt for civil services or public services as a career? I'd like to start with a quote. Through honor and diligence, civil servants thrive. With honesty as their guide, they keep hope alive. Good morning, everyone. I'm Arnav Abhijit Naik, aspiring civil servant for people of India. I'm from Christchurch School, Mumbai, and I'm in grade 9. So public services for me. What is public services for me? It is more than just a job. It's a calling, it's an inner calling to make meaningful impact on society. As an aspiring civil servant, I want to play a crucial role in shaping policies, serving people of India and public interest, and demonstrating compassion and self-sacrifice. So what do we mean by shaping policies? According to my perspective, civil servants can influence and shape policies that impact the lives of citizens of their country. Through research, analysis, collaboration, civil servants work towards creating effective and equitable solutions for challenges that the people face and to serving them, serving the public interest. The primary goal, basically, of a civil servant is to ensure the well-being of the citizens. The civil servants uphold principles of fairness, honesty, and transparency in all actions they perform. Then, demonstrating compassion. A civil servant's most important quality is to have compassion. Without compassion, you cannot understand basically what the other people is going, what the other person is going through. And it is the heart of the public service, and it drives the public servant to empathize and support those people who are in need, basically those they have to serve. Then self-sacrifice. Public service is not like any other private service. It requires a lot of sacrifice. The public service often requires personal sacrifice for the greater good of other people. Public servants often keep the need of other people above their own. They sacrifice their sleep, their personal time, their interest, their financial hobbies, or whatever their hobbies are. Basically, that's what makes them public servants. They are the top 1% of the country. Next, what are my core motivations? I have three core motivations, and then I have explained them ahead. First, one of my core motivations to opt for civil service as my career is that it will give me the opportunity to make meaningful and positive impact on society and the citizens of my nation by making policies for the supreme good of my nation's people. Civil servants are entrusted with the responsibility of serving public interest and addressing the needs of the people. The thought that I will be able to serve my country itself is one of the biggest motivation for me to pursue my interest in public service and civil service. Moreover, it has been my dream, it has since I was a child, to work in different geographical places, to experience different cultures and serve people. And public service gives me the opportunity to do that. Public servants are often posted in different parts of the country, and they serve people through healthcare access, economic development. These are the motivating factors for me, and they are my passion as well. Overall, the core motivation for me to opt for civil service as a career comes from a combination of desire and positive impact to shape policy and serve the people, and it also gives me respect and dignity in the society. It would give me respect and dignity in the society if I become a civil servant. Moving on, attraction to policy making. This is a civil servant's first love. As an aspiring civil servant, civil service is the opportunity to make positive changes and shape the future of society. It attracts me as I'm passionate about addressing social challenges and making an impact on people's life. Influence and impact. Working in policy making allows civil servants to make direct influence on the development of infrastructure and implementation of government policies. And to me, these things are very important, and these are the things I look for in a successful career. And these are my passions. I'll give a personal example. Last year, in Girgaon, Mumbai, where I live, there was shortage of electricity, and to address that issue, there was a municipal in the municipal administration of Mumbai. There was a civil servant known as Dr. Aryan Sharma. He introduced Mumbai Urban Rooftop Solar Initiative. This policy aimed to facilitate the installation of solar rooftop panels across residential, commercial, and industrial buildings throughout the area. And now we have 24 hours of electricity every day. And to be honest, we generate a lot of surplus electricity, and those are used to give electricity to other areas as well, areas that are around my house. Then collaborative environment. Policy making involves collaboration with diverse people. A lot of people you'll have to meet a lot of people. And to me, meeting people and working with them is is very interesting. It motivates me and it gives me a lot of happiness to meet new people, to understand their problems and to collaborate with them. And civil servants also do that. They interact with people and collaborate with people to achieve common goals. For example, until last year in my village, which is in Maharashtra, though there was no school in my village, and the students had to travel 20 kilometers to other village where there was a school. Imagine waking up every morning and going 20 kilometers. But this issue was solved by IS officer Priya Singh, who got transferred to our village, and she has now collaborated with the people of my village and the educational officer over there of the district. And now my village has a school, and this is what civil servants do. And now it is my dream to become like her and help other people. Thirdly, sorry, policy making has a very long impact, and and long-term thinking for me. Whenever I think about the long-term effects of things. So long-term impact policy making allows civil servants to contribute to long-term solutions to problems that have lasting impacts on society. They can anticipate future trends, like what is going to happen in the future, and prepare for it and make new policies for the betterment of that area. Then commitment to public interest. Commitment to public interest is the foundation for civil service, aspiring civil servants like me, to guide my actions and decisions serving the community. So, what are the commitment to public interests for me? Moral principles. I am driven by strong ethical framework that prioritizes the well-being and interests of public above what my interests are. I would like to stick to principle integrity, honesty, and transparency in all the works that I do. And this is what civil servants and public servants do as well. Second, community service. At the heart of my commitment, at the heart, at my inside my heart, there's a burning desire to serve the people and make a positive impact on society. I recognize my role as a guardian of public resource when I become a public civil servant, and to ensure these resources are used effectively and with responsibility. So this is what I mean by community service, and this motivates me. This is what civil servants do, and this is what motivates me to opt civil services as a career. Then responsiveness to community needs. As an aspiring civil servant, I would actively listen to and understand the needs, concerns of the communities that I serve, like the top successful civil servants that are now there doing that. I would like the civil servants work diligently to address uh, changes changes for the betterment of the people through policy development, service delivery, and community engagement. I would aspire to do the same, and they are the ones that inspire me to do that. Then resilience and adaptability. In navigating complexities of public service, I would like to demonstrate resilience and adaptability. I will strive to commit to the welfare of the people that I serve. And my inspiration behind this is the following example I'll tell you all about. For example, 3 years ago, in a rural, I had read this in a newspaper article, and this has inspired me a lot. 3 years ago, in a rural mining village of Chhattisgarh, a lot of fights were taking place between gangs to steal the produce, to take control over the produce that was coming from the mines. And the government actually wasn't doing much over there. But a civil servant from there, Dr. Ramesh Sahu, raised voice against this. He was attacked a lot of times. There was a lot of pressure on him, but he did not stop there. And he raised awareness. And finally, the government had to take action. It is people like him that inspire me to fight for justice, to fight for what is right, and to opt career for civil services, because this has been my dream. Then compassion. Compassion plays a significant role in motivating aspiring civil servants like me, influencing how I approach my responsibilities and interactions with people. And civil servants deal with empathy and understanding, because without that you cannot serve the people. This is the most important quality. Civil servants also look forward to cultivate empathy to better understand the challenges, needs of the communities they serve, and this has created a burning desire in my heart to do the same and to serve the people in a similar way. This has been an inspiration for me. Civil servants strive to see issues from the perspective of others. They see the issues of others above them, which forms their decision and actions. Then they follow a human centered approach, which inspires me again. Compassionate civil servants prioritize the well being and dignity of individuals, treating everyone with equal respect. This is something that only civil servants, this is something that civil servants follow. You cannot see these things in normal corporate jobs. They happen, but at a very small scale. But these qualities you can see in every civil servant. So these are the things that inspire me for becoming a civil servant. Second, ethical decision making. Compassion guides ethical decision making, ensuring civil servants consider the impact of their action on others. They do everything for the betterment of others, and I am inspired by that. And when I become a civil servant, I would like to prioritize justice seeking outcomes that uphold the human dignity of everyone and promote social welfare. Building trust. Compassionate civil servants build trust through genuine care and concern for the people. They communicate openly, honestly, transparently, fostering good relations that are based on mutual respect. They mutually respect the people, and then they get the respect themselves. And that's why civil service is called a respected job. That is not because they have position and power, but because they build trust with other people by serving them. Self-sacrifice. There are a lot of jobs in the world, there are a lot of jobs in our country as well, but no one demands that much self-sacrifice as civil services does. So, motivation of self-sacrifice among civil servants embodies a deep commitment to public service that personally inspires me a lot, and personal that because that is related to personal interests of the greater good of the society. That is basically dedication to public service. Civil servants are motivated by self-sacrifice. They prioritize the needs of welfare of the society above their own welfares of their own interests. They willingly dedicate their time, effort, and expertise to solve issues and to serve people rather than and they sacrifice their sleep, they sacrifice their comfort, joy, their own leisure time, personal life. Balancing work and balancing personal life is a big challenge for civil servants, but they still do it for the betterment of the people. They may miss their family events, social gatherings, or personal activities due to work commitments and demands of their roles. But at the end of the day, it is worth because they don't miss the needs of the people and the calling of the people, for which I'm ready to sacrifice anything, and I'm ready to opt for which I would like to opt a career in civil services. Personal safety and security. Depending upon their roles, civil servants may face risks like personal safety, especially in positions where law enforcement is involved, emergency responses are involved, or diplomatic services. There have been a lot of attacks on civil servants. There is a lot of there's a lot of risk to their lives, but they still don't stop. They still continue to serve the people, and they are the reason why the country's governance is going on effectively. And I think this is what inspires me to be like them because apart from being good people, intellectual people, smart people, they are good humans first, or those who fight for justice, those who fight for what is right. Challenges and solutions. Civil services and public services is all about challenges of serving the people. There are a lot of challenges that they face. Being a civil servant has its own set of challenges, which vary depending on country. Like for example, in country like India, there are a lot of challenges. It may vary from country to country, and the specific role which the public servant has taken up. First is in a country like India, political pressure. According to a news report which I had read, 78% of civil servants get political pressure from political parties to align the work they do with the agenda of the political parties. And this is a very serious issue and it needs an effective solution because if someone is being constantly pressurized, first of all, civil services is itself a very stressful life. And apart from that, they get political pressure, but still continue working. And we need to be thankful to the civil servants because even after working for 14 hours a day, getting so much political pressure, they don't stop working for us. They continue working for our benefit. Apart from that, effective solution which we can have for political pressure is a solution, according to me, would be to develop and enforce clear and strict guidelines and protocols for interactions between politicians and civil servants. This is very important because if we have strict guidelines and strict laws, this would not happen, and that will be a big relief for the civil servants of our country. Work-life balance. As civil services is a very demanding job, each officer works for an average 14 hours a day, and this results in poor work-life balance. Uh, a effective solution for this would be to establish comprehensive wellness programs that promote physical health, mental well-being, and work-life balance. Those that offer access to mindful workshops, fitness classes, gym, yoga classes to support civil servants' overall health. Because if they are healthy, then our country's governance would be healthy and our needs would be looked at in a better way. Accountability. Civil servants are held accountable for their decisions and actions, which are usually scrutinized by the public, media, oversight bodies, and elected officials. Sometimes, even when the civil servants are right, and still because of political pressure, they are held accountable. A solution for this would be to implement transcendent decision-making frameworks where civil servants can justify what they have done and they have the freedom to speak. This includes clearly defining criteria, consulting stakeholders, and making information accessible to the public through online portals or public forums. This is when the public will understand what a civil servant's life is, how hard they work, and they are the reason why a country's governance is so smooth. To conclude, I would like to say civil services is and public services are a very challenging jobs, but at the end of the day, when after serving people, the amount of happiness you get, the amount of pleasure you get after completing your responsibilities, after uh, empathizing with people, after being able to serve your country and nation, it's worth it. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Good, good, Arnav. Before we come in, maybe I would like to invite Unnati. She was the first to join in to comment upon. It's a kind of you can be here. You can be here, Arnav. So a peer kind of a comment we would like to bring in as to what. Yeah, you can
Alright.
your camera. Yeah, please be on the
Turn
camera.
your camera, please.
And Arnav, you as well. Yeah, please.
Am I visible?
No.
Arnav,
Sorry.
you can switch on your camera.
Yeah.
Am I visible now? I'm so extremely sorry.
No.
Okay. I'll just rejoin from another device if that's all right. My extreme.
Maybe Keith would like, because we would be inviting her as next. So just a fair comment as to what she learned. What's her comments on Arnav's presentation? Yeah, Keith.
So good evening, my fellow jury. I heard Arnav's speech, and it was a speech where he was truly telling as for what inspires him, what drove him towards the path of the civil servant, and I feel that he put it down in a very nice and systematic order. His thoughts were very clear, and he exactly knew what it was that drove him towards that path. And I really hope that he gets a good future in that path when he actually decides to join a job. And I hope he does very good in his future. And he spoke really well.
Okay. Mehak, would you like to come in?
Yeah, sure. I'll just take on my camera.
Yeah, please.
Am I visible?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I personally really enjoyed his PPT, and I think that everything was well written as well. So like it was well explained, and he was speaking very fluently, and honestly, you could tell how much how much he aspires to be a civil servant in the way that he was talking, and his aspirations and everything was pretty clear. So I personally enjoyed it.
Lovely. So, Dr. Surbhi, yeah.
Okay, before I talk about Arnav, I would like to take a few minutes of you all and draw your attention to, when you say you want to be a civil servant, you are going to serve the country. What it means essentially to be a public service professional. Okay, so I am a doctor myself per se, and I have been in the medical profession last 20 years. And I have been born and brought up in a family of a civil servant. My father is an IS officer. He is retired from the Indian Administrative Services. So I've seen the commitment, the entire what you're talking, Arnav, from very close quarters, right as a young child, So I very well relate to what you are saying. But with this, I also carry my own understanding of what it means to be a public service professional. I would call them public service professionals because, public service in itself is a very, very inspiring profession. Let me tell you that. First, the moment you've taken the call to be a civil servant, you say you're a civil servant, you're a public service professional. Right? That pledge in itself is very, very important. The day you have taken that sankalpa, Prime Minister Modi talks about Sankalp se Siddhi. So how does that Siddhi come? We talked about empathy, So what does empathy mean, in a sense? See, when you are an IS officer or a civil servant or a public service professional, you get a seat of power, right? You get some entitlements, you get a power to be, it's a great responsibility. And let me tell you, dear friends, that our preamble talks about our rights and duties, right? You've all read in civics. So responsibility comes with, rights come with a lot of responsibility. The public is gazing at you. You are the, जिसे कहते हैं ना, आदर्श. You are the example. You are laying यथा राजा तथा प्रजा. यथा राजा तथा प्रजा. तो राजा जो अपना वहन करता है अपने व्यवहार का, वैसे ही प्रजा में पालन होता है. So if you read Kautilya Shastra, Chanakya, and you read about the rulers of the past, well, the colonial era is gone now. The Britishers, they created the services. But, this spirit to serve. मैं अभी राजा word use कर रही हूँ, but in a sense, it is a service. Why is it called Indian Administrative Services? Being a medical doctor, I'm also an administration trained personnel. I'm trained into healthcare administration. The first thing we are told in medical administration is that in a hospital or in a corporate setup or anywhere, if a person comes to you with grievance, first of all, assure him. If somebody has a grievance, he's in pain. So, assure him, then listen to his problem. Your hospital might not be at fault. The patient might have misunderstood the entire problem, but assure him, redress the problem, give him a glass of water, give him a place to sit, and listen to his heart, listen to his woes. This is something, grievance redressal. If you start reverse engineer from that point, you will never go wrong. So I feel at LBS and in the Lal Bahadur Shastri Academy of Administration, I'm interacting and have been interacting since childhood with a host of civil service and civil service officers, and being to all those parties and the clan. One thing I observe, is that these soft skills training is something which we need to work upon even more. And when you say we need to thank the civil servants, well, he's not doing any obligation on the country. He's being paid. It is his duty. It is his sentiment. If he works, goes the extra mile, and he's having all the powers. If he wants, he can bring a great impact, right? I have seen my father as the district magistrate. He was in the state of Manipur, Tripura, where insurgency was there. Arnav, you've taken a very good point that he sacrifices, the officer sacrifices his personal safety for the country's good. There were floods in Tripura, and my father, during the floods, he went on a boat to oversee the operation of rescuing of people. Sometimes there are certain situations like that. But with this, always remember, people are watching you. Your conduct, your empathy, your humility, yet firmness. I'm not saying that don't be confident, don't have your self-esteem, self-pride, but it is very important to understand that an IS officer, a civil servant, must not ever say that, look, I am at the seat and you are here, right? This is the tenet of a very ace and a fine officer, public service professional.
So at this juncture, I would like to just bring in that in a lot of civil services personal interview, a lot of psychological profiling goes into place. So a career in civil services has to be groomed all through your schooling. It just cannot be fake for that matter. And that's why these exercises are so very important. It is not just a test of intellect. Oh, I have scored so many marks in the written examination, or I have cracked the prelims. Every stage has got its own, like the preliminary stage, which was conducted today. A lot of elimination happens. You have to come to a certain basic degree of general awareness, or general mathematics, general sciences, a general aptitude being a civil servant. And and the mains examination tests the depth, the capacity, the cerebral capacity what you have. And the interview what Dr. Surbhi has been mentioning, because she has been behind the wheels, and a lot of psychometric assessment goes on. And so those experts, that personality trait just cannot be faked. And I love the way Unnati and Mehak, they substantiated the sincerity what Arnav was saying. So we might be having a whole lot of content on a I would say on a slide, but do we really mean it? Do we really feel for it? And that is it coming from the depth of your heart? Because at the end of the day, you are giving the reins of power of districts to these young servants. I think Arnab has made a very fantastic presentation,
Thank you.
and across his policy making content, he has researched a lot, I would say, and he is able to associate very, very well. He's quite aware of his surroundings, not just in some ivory tower, but he can associate it well. And on the application part, like, he's presented in a very phenomenal fashion. And thanks, Arnav, for guiding us, for enlightening us. It was a great learning.
Thank
Your
you.
presentation
Very well
was for us.
researched,
Yeah.
Arnav. Very
Yeah.
well
So I would now
researched.
like to bring in Unnati. And Unnati comes from Tagore International School, Vasant Vihar. She's a student of class 10.
Okay.
And she is interested in the functioning of the civil services, has deep admiration for the constant efforts made by the civil servants to implement government policies and ensures the smooth administration of the country. Her interest also arises from her family background, wherein her father and her grandfather, both paternal and maternal, have served the nation in the Indian Army. So salutes, Unnati, to your whole family, men in uniform especially. We say that beyond the civil servants are the military personnel. So that's really laudable. And her great grandfather was in the Indian police service. So that goes very well in the family, that aspiration. And she has actively tried improving the quality of lives of people in need. So that's coming from her principles. So a lot of empathy already certified out here. And she has led and strategized Tagore International School, Vasant Vihar, efforts to support acid attack survivors. As the vice president of the campaign Flawless Flaws, wherein as part of numerous initiatives, she has organized several skin donation camps and influenced parents to enroll themselves as skin donors. Currently, she is part of another student-led campaign in the school, which supports the LGBTQIA plus community, called Breaking Barriers. These activities, apart from supporting those in need, help her feel closer to humanity. And this gives her motivation and zeal to achieve her goal of becoming a foreign services officer one day. So Unnati has chosen her career further. She has shrunk it across so lovely. It's good that you want to visit places, and foreign services has its own dimension of pushing forth the strategic sovereign interest of the country, what you represent. So that's a matter of a different thing. But let's invite Unnati to give her presentation as to what it means for her to being a civil servant. Over to Unnati, please.
Thank you so much. Okay, so first, I just want to confirm if my audio is echoing.
A little bit, but we will manage, Unnati. Please go on.
All right. So firstly, greetings to all. I'm Unnati Shekhawat. I'm currently in the 10th grade and I study at Tagore International School, Vasant Vihar. At the outset, I would start with thanking the organizing community of this event for excuse me, would you just excuse me for a second? I'm facing it. Is my audio clear right now?
Yeah, Unnati, please go on.
All right. Thank you so much. Again, my apologies. Okay. So at the outset, I would like to extend my gratitude to the organizing committee of this event for providing such a wonderful forum for my peers and me to not only talk about our aspirations, but also to hear from others about what they plan to do as a civil servant.
At a school level, I participate in dance competitions and have represented my school and at an international level at the Dubai Dance Competition. As Sir mentioned previously, I do love to work for social causes, and that I believe has instilled in me a deep desire to serve the society. On a personal side, I come from a family engaged in serving the nation. My father is currently serving the Indian Army. Both my grandfathers are veterans from the armed forces, and my great grandfather was the inspector general in the Indian Police Services. So I'm facing some issue with my network. It's glitching constantly. Could I please rejoin? My sincere apologies.
No worries, Unnati. Please, please.
Please carry on with
I sincerely apologize for the constant.
So let's bring in Keith meanwhile. And Keith is again a student of class 9th. And his principal says he's well disciplined, a role model. His peers look up to him, and he has leadership qualities through which he is able to inspire others to follow the rules and regulations. For example, he has been for 2 consecutive years a road safety patrol, and he takes this role very seriously. So we would really ask Keith to start his presentation to tell us more about this patrolling. And from the age of 8, he has been inducted as a cub, moving on to be a Sea Scout. He is also good in elocution, debates, and athletics. He performs well academically. He is passionate and puts forth his best in whatever he puts his heart to. So quite a basic, essential, I would say a baseline for being a civil servant for that matter. Over to Keith. Carry on. Yeah.
Good evening, my fellow students and the jury. First of all, thank you for giving such a nice explanation about how I am. Could I start sharing my PPT?
Yeah, please go on. Yeah.
Could you all see it?
Yeah, please tell.
Just a second. Okay. So good evening. My name is Keith Bhatena. I'm from Christchurch School, studying in grade 9th. So today I would like to tell how I aspire to be a civil servant and make a difference in public life. Few positive steps to build a better nation. I firmly believe in the motto of an IAS, excellence in action. From childhood, in every path or step that I have gone towards, I've tried to do my best. May it be RSP, may it be athletics, may it be elocution, debates, scouts and guides. I have always given my full into it, trying to be the best, trying to beat everyone. So hence the motto of the IAS perfectly goes hand in hand with the kind of person I am. What inspires me to become a civil servant? Firstly, my interest in public service and my passion for making a difference in society motivates me to pursue a career as an IAS officer. The main work of an IAS officer is to try and help the public, put them before himself. It is to make a difference in their life, how he can make it better, how he can help them. So hence, I as an individual try my level best to help everyone who I can. Secondly, the opportunity to work closely and understand their problems and implement policies that positively impacts their lives. So when you are an IAS, you get to work in the field, you get to interact with people, know their problems, and you get a first-hand experience on this. Hence, I greatly aspire to be an IAS officer because from childhood, I always wondered what kind of problems do people face. And since if I were to be an IAS officer, I would exactly know like how people from different places, different categories, what kind of problems do they go through and how I could help them personally. The opportunity to work on a diverse range of projects and initiatives that have a significant impact on the development and welfare of our society. IAS officers work not only in one field, but they vary in different kinds of fields. May that be implementing policies, seeing as to how the things are running in different places. So I would get a great knowledge about different things. I could assist them on maybe not on quite an expert level, but at least as a basic. Secondly, civil service provides a dynamic and a challenging environment where I can continuously learn, grow professionally. I am deeply committed to upholding the principles of justice, equality, and fairness. So I, as an individual from childhood, have always been running against time. I've been part of so many different things. Like I go from one place to another, one place to another, trying to meet up all the ends. So hence, this is a civil servant platform would be perfect for me because I feel like I love challenges. That's how I like my life. Everything fast, everything race against time. That's how I like to be. Secondly, one of the role models that I had when I was a child as a civil service, when I saw about the field of civil service, was Armstrong Pame. He was also known as the miracle man of India, since he achieved the you could say since he achieved to build a road of nearing 100 kilometers in Tamil Gao district in Manipur. Just please cut the call. Moving on to the next slide. That is my vision. So I was born up in this country since childhood. It has a rich culture and tradition. It has a diverse country with all major religions of the world. There are more than 1,600 languages spoken in our country. But with so many different cultures, tradition, caste, and so many different languages, there is one thing common between us, and that is we all classify ourselves as Indians. Hence, I strongly believe in the motto, strength in diversity. My vision is to serve this nation with dignity and honor, with high standards of efficiency, honesty, transparency, integrity. Prioritize the needs and interests of the community above my personal gain. Promote justice, ensure fairness, equality, and access to opportunities for the citizens. By this, I mean that I won't be biased to anyone. I won't discriminate any person based on their color, or if I were to be an IS officer, I would try to be fair, not like how certain people are, like they take bribes and they, as per that, they give out their final decision. I, as an IS officer, would try my level best, not try, but ensure that I am not at all corrupt and try my level best to help the citizens as far as I could. Work towards a sustainable development and betterment of society as a whole. For me, my country comes first. That's the main importance. You put them above yourself. You bring your needs and gain later on. Help the others. That's the main role of a civil servant as a general. Secondly, my aspiration. It is very important to have a sense of purpose as a civil servant to improve the lives of others, providing essential services such as healthcare, education, and public safety. As a civil servant, it's very important that you give healthcare to people who are in need and maybe do not have enough resources to pay at the particular moment. You never know, you could save a life. Education. It is very important to educate the people of a country because education is what in turn will help for the development of a country. It will grow our country to standards which we have been dreaming for quite some years. Public safety. It is very important that the people living in the country feel safe when they live. They do not fear to be roaming around at night thinking what is going to happen to them. So this is a very important point. Secondly, impact. Aspire to make a meaningful and positive difference in lives of citizens. Uh, I, if I were to be a civil servant, I would like to bring about a positive difference and change for their betterment, for their development, and try and help them as much as possible. Leadership. Since childhood, my mom and my parents both have tried to inculcate the habit of leadership to try and have a authority over others at the same time to have the authority so that it is helping them and I could teach my knowledge to them, pass down my knowledge. Second, professional growth. Seek opportunities for continuous learning, skill development, and advancement. As a civil servant, I'll get to interact with many people, people from various parts of the country, people who are doing various professions. This further on just kind of boosts my knowledge in different fields. Secondly, innovation. Strive to introduce innovative solutions and approaches to address the common challenges being faced by the people in our country. One such problem that is being faced in our country at the moment is overpopulation. Our country has a significantly increase in population. It is now the most populated country in the world ahead of China. It is estimated that by the year 2030, our population will reach 1.5 billion, and by the year 2050, our population will be 2 billion. Uh, well, we Indians are always by the tagline, more hands, more the money. But we kind of forget more hands, more the mouth to feed. If our population continues to grow in such a such a large quantity, my bad, sorry. So we'll run out of resources to, kind of supply to such a large population. We are facing problems such as we do not have enough space for people to live in. At times, we are running out of water. For example, Bangalore recently, before in May, they didn't have water on the for like drinking, cooking, or having a bath in general. So they had to actually leave Bangalore and go back to our hometowns, which further impacted the what you call as the Silicon Valley, that is the IT industry of India, drastically. Second, collaboration. Foster collaboration and partnership across government and agencies. By this point, I mean that you have so many private sectors and government sectors. It would be much better if they sort of came hand in hand, communicated with each other. This would give a better service to both the people who were working in the private sectors as well as the government sectors. It would bring development in both the sides. This work creates a positive impact on society and people's lives. It strives to contribute in building a sustainable, inclusive, and prosperous future for generations to come. So I deeply feel that we are born in a very nice era where our country is keeping on, I would say it's keeping on moving towards the future, getting better. But I, as an individual, would want to make the country even better. For example, we at the moment, compared to countries like Tokyo, America, which are like still at this point significantly ahead us in different ways, such as town planning, the basic pay scales of people, their overall standards of living are quite high in comparison to India. So I, as an individual, would like to bring about changes that could further develop India to be an even more powerful nation than what it already is. We are valued for our efforts and respected for our decisions and contribution towards our nation. My commitment. I commit here. Commitment here is like a relationship or bond that employees have with their organization to work and improve each day in areas like innovation, understanding, communication, interpersonal skills, outstanding organizational abilities, super problem solving skills, etc. So by this we mean every day as we work, we are further and further improving. We are in a race against time currently. So there are new innovations. People are slowly by studying becoming more broad-minded with time. The communication between people is increasing. Then outstanding organizational abilities. That means people are not only, I would explain to kind of further emphasize on this particular point, outstanding organizational abilities. That is like people may be specifying in their job, but at the same time they're trying to gain more knowledge about various other things so that they have a basic knowledge about how things work in this world. That is what is more important in today's time. Not only the bookish knowledge, but at the same time having knowledge about how exactly this world works, what it needs, and what are its drawbacks. So as I stated earlier about the overpopulation, this is just a way, this is just a slide to show exactly how, what is the rate of overpopulation and what are the steps through which we can curtail this. So firstly, simply by educating the men and women about how they could promote the adoption of children. We have realized that in our country as a whole is a country which has a very large number of children who do not have any parents. But we are still stuck with the mentality that if, the child, we should not adopt children because they're not our own blood and all. But it's time to come out of that mentality. You know, if we actually adopt the children, it is really good. Why? Because firstly, it sort of curtails the growing population, gives these children who are going through God knows what kind of conditions, rough time, a chance to get a family, finally have parents. Secondly, people need to be told and understand the consequences of having too many children. Government institutions can carry awareness campaign. For example, in China, to curtail down the overpopulation, the government had bought out a scheme that said that if a couple or a family had more than one child, the first child would get the government benefits, but the second child, they would have to pay the whole fees, or more like the double of the fees, and for any basic necessities. So by this, the parents were like kind of aware that if we have more than one child, we would be affected in such a way. So they would so they would either adopt children or they would only try and opt for one child. So by this, China managed to bring their population in control. And I feel that India too can do this and bring their population in control. I, since childhood, have always been on the path to make a better tomorrow. Since childhood, I have always aspired to be a Navy officer. Then I have taken part in various competitions, such as once our school had tried and had made a video for the birthday of Subhash Chandra Bose. So that time I had played the role of Subhash Chandra Bose and spreading awareness as per what he had done to bring our country as freedom. I have always been gravitated towards the different kinds of civil servant like IAS, IPS, the different kinds of naval forces like the Navy, the Air Forces, and the Armed Forces. So, thank you, everyone.
Good, Keith. Maybe I would like Arnab to comment upon the peer comments. Let's do that.
So everything he wrote in his slide was very precise, and he played very minute attention to all the details. He spoke very well. He spoke fluently. That shows how interested he is in in being an aspiring civil servant. And I wish him all the best in that process. Thank you.
Unnati.
Thank you, Arnav.
I feel like Keith was very fluent when he was talking. He was aware of what he was saying, and any point he was saying, he was explaining himself and why he believes the point should be said. And that means he worked extremely hard today to present. So I too wish him a very best of luck for the future.
Thank you, Unnati.
Mehak.
Yeah, similar comments I would like to pass. Good luck to Keith for the future, and I think that he would make a great officer, given his aspirations and especially the, the overpopulation. The last slide which he was talking about, I think that was a slide that caught my eye because it is a problem, and the solutions that he provided were like applicable, practical. So yeah, good luck to you, Keith.
Thank you, Mike.
Dr. Surabhi.
Okay, when we talk about excellence in action, Keith, you have made a very good presentation. You have touched upon the points which are needed to qualify for the civil services, and your understanding of that is very profound. So was Arnav. One thing that I would like to come in, when you talk about excellence, what does it mean? Does it mean to beat others and be the number one? I win, you lose. Is that excellence?
Uh,
Go ahead.
No, by excellence, I don't exactly mean by that. The most important thing is to have sportsmanship. Even if you do lose, you do go and congratulate the person who you lost against. That's very important. The thing is to do better. You keep on trying better. You may lose this time, but you have to again try and beat your. Most important, the competition is not against someone else, but instead with yourself. You have to compete to try and beat your previous version.
Yes, so that is where I wanted to come in, and you have said it yourself that nothing wanted more, dear. See, excellence means beating your own records, bettering yourself each time. Yeah? And as a public service professional, you have to understand it is a public victory. When we say a victory, it is not I win, you lose. There is no win lose. It is I win, you win. If you read emotional intelligence, Daniel Goleman talks about emotional intelligence studies. See, this is a teamwork. An IS officer or a civil servant, an IFS officer is working in a team, in a government, in a machinery. There are so many officers working at every level, at every department, at every point. You are not working in isolation. So you have to be a team player. So you said the right word, sportsmanship. So team building, a good leader, a good officer is one who motivates others to excel as well, who creates leaders in even the peon who's serving tea to you. You tell him your life is not just about serving tea. In your journey, you might meet across people, like you said, giving healthcare to those who need. So you are motivating everywhere. The culture penetrates from top to bottom. If you are motivated, if you are committed, if you want to go that extra bit, you will motivate each and every person in your realm of reach, in your realm of existence to do the same. So team building, Chak De. When we say in MBA schools, we watch these movies, Chak De, and all these team movies. What are we learning out of all of them? Team spirit, motivational, leaders. Leader is one who creates the leader in others. Yeah. So beat your own records and help others win. That is your victory.
Thank you, Dr. Surbhi. And I would like to take upon from your point that the teams here are not in the same time span. Bureaucracy per se has a legacy problem out here. And the example what Keith drew, perhaps there can be a different explanation of the same, that the utter mismanagement of the municipal affairs in the Silicon Valley of the country probably led to the stupendous water crisis. So having a growth mindset, having an open mind, because being an administrative officer, you are not an academic, to take a particular point of view, because there are multiple levels of operation. And it is under the, as Arnab had put it very well, that it's a political mandate which the people of the country give to the public representatives. And it is the public representatives who create the larger goals to which the public servants have to implement. And policy making, for that matter, for a long period of time has gone away from the realm of the so-called flashy IS officers and so on and so forth. It has gone to the academics, the think tanks, a lot of consultings, the McKinseys of the world, the KPMGs, and so on and so forth. So despite having a cerebral capacity, and this is also a kind of a frustration which the young officers find, that they have become kind of a havaldar, kind of a a matron. They are just getting targets implemented, which where there is a political boss above and there is an unaccountable junior bureaucracy under them. So teamwork is one part of it, the story, but then how to create a legacy over there, structural fixes. For example, Arnav gave the examples which I think Keith failed to associate much. It was more, I would also like to say that it's good to speak good for our compatriots, but when you will go above, you have to have that spine for criticizing and telling that this is a deficiency you are having out there. This policy fix, whatever you are trying, is not going to work. So policy making is again a very contested field. For like even the challenge of even the issue of population. There is a population dividend and there is a population disaster. It all lies in the fact, like India is standing today, we have the largest, highest demographic dividend. So Japan and other countries, like they're not producing kids even at the replacement rate. It has become a country of old age people. So what I mean to say is that the civil servants have to have a very extensive view, and that is why the civil services examination is considered to be the mother of all disciplines for that matter. You might be coming from the humanities, you might be coming from the sciences, you might be coming from the technology, the engineering field for that matter. Because public policy is a multi-sectoral, it's a very complicated domain. It's not linear. It's not a 3-month kind of a balance sheet which a corporation has to accomplish. Whatever policies are made, its impact is actually revealed perhaps 3 decades down the line, at least 3 years for that matter, in the public space. So it's a slow process. So that sensitization is very important. And it's good that Keith brought in a lot of energy. And we saw that as his principal has also said that he puts his heart. So a lot of mentoring when it comes to it. I think a lot of depth would come automatically, but it's a great effort, great energy. And what they say that civil servants cannot have their original voice. They have to work under a lot of compulsions, a lot of constraints. It looks like you are in a very powerful office, but very little power to exercise. So that is the kind of a paradox which civil servants, if you interview them, if you meet them in person, you feel like a lot of jazz, a lot of things, but then we can't do what we like. Lots and lots of constraints. So thank you, Keith. Lovely, lovely.
Thank you, Dr. Surbhi, for giving your feedback.
Sure, Keith. And I would still like to say one thing.
So let's move on to Unnati. I think we stopped with that.
Yeah, I would just like to come in and say to Keith that Keith, you have all the ingredients to be a great civil servant. My comments and the points I've stated are only to add those attributes additionally. This is not to undermine. Even Arnav, your presentation was very profound. And so,
thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the
Thank you, ma'am.
Remember me, I'm sure 10 years, 15 years down the line, when you would be handling positions of power and service, with the spirit to service, I'm sure you would remember my words somewhere in your life. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Unnati, over to you. Yeah, please.
Thank you so much, sir. Firstly, I would like to apologize for the constant disturbance from my end. All right, is my screen visible?
Yes, we can see you and we can hear you now very well. You can go on.
All right. My screen is visible to you, right?
Yes.
Unnati, better you pass on your presentation to us. We can play it from our end. And then
all right, that would be.
Just send us across on chat. Till the time, maybe I would like to ask Mehak to make her presentation. So Mehak Karnani, she's a student of class 12th, and she has a deep desire to contribute towards the well-being of society and make a positive impact on the lives of others. And her leadership skills allow her to manage teams and inspire her peers. In addition, her creative thinking skills and the ability to empathize with others has instilled in her excellent problem-solving capability. Furthermore, her integrity and sincerity are praiseworthy. Emotional intelligence is another ability that she possesses, which enhances the quality of her relationships and ensures efficiency in every task that she undertakes. So that's her recommendation note from her principal. So over to Mehak.
Thank you so much for that. So I'll just share my screen. Is my screen visible?
Yeah, please go on.
Okay. So basically, I'm gonna try and keep all of this a little short and sweet because that's what my peers usually call me. So right now in this presentation, we'll delve into being a civil servant, as the title suggests, the key themes, the roles that our civil servants play, and my personal inputs towards it. So attraction to policy making. So first of all, what is policy making? The appeal of being involved in the creation and implementation of policies that shape the society today. So if I were in IAS, the amount of influence and if I were a civil servant, no man, in whatever field, the amount of influence and impact I personally would have on the society is a major factor. Also, as I have, so to be an IAS, you need to have problem solving skills, and for that you need to be able to address the issues that are going on. So one issue that I would like to take up right now is reservation. I know, a little controversial, but let's have a look. So basically, I'll talk about IAS for like just IAS for now. So we all know how IAS officers are, how are they recruited. So firstly, there are two examinations, as sir have already mentioned. There are two examinations. Then we also have a personality test, as sir also said that there are a lot of psychological attributes that come into that play a major role. For example, your not just your intelligence, but also your creative skills, your problem solving skills, etc. So for that, we have personality test as well, which is like an interview. Next, something important here is the reservation policy. We all know what reservation is. In case anybody does not, it is basically the seats that are reserved for backward classes. So yeah. So right now, current reservation is 61.5% the total amount. So my initiative would involve reducing reservation. So let's talk about why reduction in reservation is needed. First of all, it will promote meritocracy. People who have genuinely worked hard, people who have genuinely gotten a rank, I think they deserve to be a part of this very important community. Mostly because, and also like meritocracy will also ensure skilled workforce. So if you've gotten in on the basis of your merit, you know you will be able to handle whatever pressure or whatever issues that are coming up. Also, from the years of independence till now, the socio-economic conditions in India have improved. It is pretty much visible. So even the backward classes have now somewhere or the other come up. And also, due to the concept of reservation, there has been a lot of I wouldn't say hatred, but a repulsion. So we've seen this, a lot of times, like the title general versus backward classes. And I've seen so many, everybody has seen this around, that general caste people are having, repulsion against, oh, you have reservation, you have quota, you'll easily get in, but I've worked so hard for it and all. So somewhere or the other, it does make a repulsion. So what my policy is that we will increase school level reservation from 25% to 35%. So now, with every student having the same level of knowledge and the same level of 14 years of education, which is equal, I think that they will be able to perform equally well, and it would be time for each student to prove their, place. So, given India's history, of course, the discrimination, the prejudices, we can't completely remove reservation. That is not what I'm suggesting. So I'm suggesting a reduction. So it is 49.5% overall. So that I think should be reduced to 30% for higher education. Talking about commitment to public interest, I feel like, see, most important thing is that you need to prioritize public welfare, which is something I'm personally pretty passionate about. So, public welfare, I feel, is the most important concept here. So, for that, you need to provide people resources, because if they don't have resources, then the quality of lives of people will decrease in any case, and the skills and the talents that they possess, they will not be able to show those talents. And also, of course, enhancing transparency. People should be aware as to how our community is working, what is going on, what debates and what discussions are taking place, and what is leading to a certain conclusion. So let's talk about citizen engagement, which also comes under the same. So there are a few ways in which we can increase citizen engagement. First is open communication channels. The simplest one, social media. We have seen, I think social media has the biggest impact currently looking. Like, for example, we had that NEET scam taking place. So there were so many people, so many teachers speaking up for their students, claiming that it was leaked or people were given, I think, grace marks or something. we can see that it has made an impact because NTA has decided to, reevaluate the people for whom they are given grace marks for and everything. So I think social media has a great impact, giving people more such channels to express their views. Secondly, collaborating with your NGOs and organizations to reach out to people who are unable to, you know, who don't have these kind of privileges to even have a social media accounts or everything. So to reach those kind of people, we can always collaborate with NGOs. Citizen participation in decision making, having hall meetings, having open meetings, consulting. In villages there are panchayats, so consulting them, looking at every aspect and every kind of groups that are, because India is a vast country, and it is important that it is impossible, honestly, to look at every smallest of small community, but we should try our best to inculcate each and every one. Next is compassion. Compassion is genuinely the most important, the most needed, because if you do not have compassion, I think that the field of being a civil servant, like the concept of you getting into civil servant without having compassion for people is impossible, because you require to make a lot of sacrifices, which I'll talk about later. So compassion is necessary, genuine desire for the well-being of people, addressing issues of poverty, health, addressing various issues. Now, let's talk about how we'll be able to address so many issues. So there is this concept called veil of ignorance of John Rawls. So he says that when policymakers are, sitting down, they should have like a veil on their face, like a metaphorical veil, which means that what identity you possess right now, whatever class you belong to, whatever caste you belong to, whatever sex you belong to, whatever gender you belong to, you forget that. You completely forget that, and you have no idea that once this veil is gone, what kind of a person you will be. And then putting on that veil, you don't know who you are. That's how you should make your policies, so that then you'll be able to think differently, like, oh, what if I end up being a police? Oh, what if I end up being in the marginalized section? What if I end up in the general section? So you have no idea who you are. Obviously it is impossible to forget who you personally are, like your identity, obviously, but it's a metaphorical concept, and I think that is very important to, and it will help to cultivate empathy and understand ourselves and the rest of the people within the community. Self-sacrifices, like I talked a little about before. This is a quote by Mahatma Gandhi ji. The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others, which also, talks about empathy. Dedication to long hours. So as a civil servant, you will have to give a lot of hours to your work, and it is not easy. It is a lot of research. It is a lot of work, and you have so many different opinions, so many different ways and aspects in which you have to think. And like for example, the reservation, the initiative that I put in about the reservation, even for that one slide, I had to do so much research. So imagine if you're being actually on that post, the amount of knowledge that you'll have to have, the amount of constant knowledge that you have to be aware of what's going on in your country. You need to like the acceptance of potential personal and financial sacrifices. So there may be jobs that would be willing to offer you more financial, like more salary. So that's why I said that compassion is very necessary, because if you don't have compassion, you would probably choose a job which would give you more salary than what the civil services provide you. But I think it is very necessary that, again, the compassion, empathy, working for people. Also prioritizing service over personal gains. Again, you have so much work to do that you might have to skip on your personal gains and actually focus on your country, prioritizing them, prioritizing your people. So at last, I would like to talk about my motivations. First of all, like I said, even though the research is rigorous, the amount of knowledge that you have, the amount of concepts that you get cleared in your head, I think is very important, and it will make you a smarter person. And next is you get a stability. Might not be a lot of salary, but you get stability and the amount of respect people show you, even though you are civil servants, you are providing them with everything. So there is a certain respect that comes with this job. There's a certain pride that you feel within yourselves when you say, yeah, I work in IAS. So, and then also there are diverse opportunities, even as a civil servant, like my focus personally is IAS, but as a civil servant, there are so many varieties of fields in which you could get into. There is defense, there is accounting, there is police, and lot many more. So by saying all of this, I would like to end my presentation. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you, Mahak. I think it's quite in tune with a very balanced, moderate, and I would say a sincerity of purpose is quite there, and quite a feedback that civil servants largely they might be having a personal opinion of themselves, but at the end of the day, commitment to public interest means that whatever is the political mandate, as a high-end professional, a public servant has to accept that. So if, for example, Unnati's brief, and I was reading, if you have a very strong personal voice, you can be a great activist. You can be a stupendous academic for that matter. You can keep fighting. Thomas Piketty, or we should have a bias towards. So those are the people who push a idea, a view. They live and lead by that. A public servant is a kind of a synthesizer. He or she has to balance things across. And I think Mahak has presented that personality traits of moderation, though she emphasizes a lot on IAS, but then in the next breath, she goes back and says, no, other services are also fine. And that is the truth. Because whatever you might be aspiring for, the world is so complex, so fast moving, that whatever you are aspiring, it might not come at that point in time. You might be getting whatever ranks in the civil services examination, you might not be getting that cadre, that dream cadre of yours. Even if you join a state government, you might not be getting that very particular department of yours. So the open-mindedness, what Mahak has shown, I think very sweet, very crisp presentation of hers, a very balanced persona, because that is what eventually the leaders, the UPSC people, they look in at a personality level. Yes, the baseline academic scripts have to be fine, the qualifiers have to be all over there. But then having a very, very strong view sometimes goes against in the spirit of being a civil servant. You might be posted in a district which might be having a people's sentiment which might be almost 180 degree of your personal sentiments for that matter. So being at a position of power, you have to be flexible, you have to be moderate, you have to be encompassing. That is what public interest is all about, not going against the writ of the law, but the spirit of the law, spirit of the will of the people. I think that's where Mahak has done a stupendous job. Very sweet. And Arnav had a very elaborate presentation. He was quite an academic champ, like bringing everything in. But Mahak has brought it, a lot of that compassionate feeling, that sense of purpose, that sincerity, that flexibility. Because it's a very complex area. It's not like running your a paper, academic paper. No, it's not an individual sprint, as Dr. Surbi said. Paris 2024 is just around the corner, and that's where if you are a great athlete, you can win a lot of medals. There are no medals in public services. There are only brickbats, and brickbats. You just have to ensure that you don't collide. You just manage it through. And so when it comes to controversial topics, so the thing is to give a very balanced answer, to give a politically correct answer, because that's why we have 5 years elections, and that turf is left to the netas for that matter. not for the public servants. That's good. So I think in our today's quad of contestants, we have got Mehak a very, very balanced way, and others can learn from there, because I have to wrap it up. So maybe Unnati, I have got her presentation, lovely one on Canva. She has, so I will do, I would say, I would run it through for her. Just a moment.
Thank you so
Thank you
much,
so
sir,
much.
for your very kind words and for your great advice. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Unnati, yeah, go on.
Thank you so much, sir, for presenting for me. And again, my sincere apologies for the constant disturbance from my
Not
end.
at all. Please go on.
I think I've already introduced myself, so I request you, sir, to move to the third slide. Yes. Okay. So as we know, the civil services are the executive arm of the government, in charge of diplomatic and law enforcement responsibilities as they work towards achieving a better governance and economy for the country. Another role they play is to immediately work towards solving any crisis the nation might face, both external and internal. With that, sir, could you please? All right. Diplomacy is one of the noblest professions one can have. This is a quote I saw on the internet, and it stayed with me ever since. And this has further fueled my desire to join the Indian Civil Services, and in particular, the Indian Foreign Services. To me, having a seat at a meeting where I can share my country's beliefs and understand others' cultures, perspectives, etc., is aspirational. Joining the foreign services also gives me an opportunity to learn about diverse cultures while traveling the world. The foreign services are a prestigious field of expertise, and to be able to work and contribute as part of it is a goal that I cherish and am working towards achieving one day. As I set this goal for myself, I do understand that there will be a number of crises that would occur, like the situation in Ukraine in 2022, where Indian diplomats, with the support of the Ministry of External Affairs and armed forces, planned out Operation Ganga and rescued thousands of Indians from the Ukraine conflicts via routes in neighboring countries. What I have mentioned is just an example, but as I work abroad, I will face similar difficulties and will work to the best of my abilities to not only coordinate a rescue plan, but also to safeguard Indians and support them in any alarming situations. Sir, could you please shift to the next slide? Thank you so much. As a diplomat, I will work to the best of my ability to maintain a peaceful relationship between India and the certain country where I'm posted. A great way to do so would be to foster a healthy trade and communication system between India and the respective country. India is a diverse country, rich in culture and heritage. Thus, as a diplomat, it would be my duty to work with my team to share the beauty of the Indian culture and heritage with those who are alien to it. I plan to do so by collaborating with local institutions to organize cultural events, exhibitions, and more. Another thing I plan to do is to collaborate with schools, local organizations, and NGOs to educate others about Indian festivities, languages, history, and much more. So, could you shift to the next slide, please? As I work towards achieving that goal, uh, as I work towards achieving my goal, I expect to take continued steps and measures with extreme commitment, focus, and dedication to continuously take me closer to my goal. One of the key areas that I'm laying emphasis on is to maintain constant awareness of global events and also understand the perspectives of diplomats across the globe by reading and listening to their articles and interviews. From an academic standpoint, my current goal is to strengthen my understanding of these subjects that I have, which will thereby translate to me scoring well in my 10th grade board exams, followed by similar approach in subsequent academic pursuits. The foreign services are a prestigious field which offer global exposure to the ability the ability to learn new languages alongside. There is a lot one can learn while meeting people from different countries, cultures, ethnicities, etc. Hearing about these people, their perspectives, and life in their country can teach me many valuable lessons that I'm keen to learn and bring back to my country with. Alongside the above, I do not struggle to socialize or to adjust to different environments and personas. Thus, regular traveling and exploration will suit my personality very well, and communication will not be an issue for me. As I come to the end of my presentation, I again would like to extend my appreciation for this wonderful opportunity to present here today and would like to welcome any feedback.
So I think Unnati is quite a diplomat in the making, and because Sadha was brief, succinct presentation, and she's very focused because diplomacy is not like a kind of a rally presentation. You have to really make a very precise point on a global fora and advance the strategic, well calculated interests of your country. That's how the global politics works. And it's so complex that you just cannot have any personal view of yours. You are just a carrier of it in a very pleasing fashion. And Unnati has really done it in a very innocuous, very diplomatic fashion for that matter. And I would really like to congratulate her and wish that she is able to pursue it. A razor sharp focus that is very much important, because then you have warring countries, you are having a global dangle, and there you have to get your point passed on, a very tough stand. You have to manage friendship with two dadas, two enemies. You have to manage friendship. So how will you do it across? So that is what Unnati brings it to the table. So I think with this, we come to the close of this lovely presentation. We are missing out on Pragya Pramita Dhyani, who was to also present on this occasion. And maybe I would like to give a brief editorial kind of impact on Keith. That Keith, your personality is great from a consultant's point of view. You can be a phenomenal consultant at one of the big fours of the
Yes,
world.
I felt the same.
But what happens is, being an administrator is like wielding power. As you said, that you have to be in a chair of responsibility. So you can learn a lot from Arnav from that matter. Because see, aggression is great on the defense frontier, where you have to attack upon people. Like diplomats are on the different end of the extreme per se, what Unnati has tried to showcase. Learn it more from Mehak for that matter, in your presentation part of it all. A bit moderate expression on the personality part. So that, because what happens is, anywhere people watch you first, their compilation of your ideas and thought process happens way later. So apart from very high sincerity, what you have, extremely high sincerity, a kind of an accommodating, because IS is all about accommodation, because there would be diverse fields, people fighting on multiple things, and you have to be the arbiter of one dimension, of a kind of a, like lowest common multiple, LCM, you have to find it across. So you have to get quickly. So I think that's an area where you can really work upon. And as I suggested to even Mehak, that aggression on a design, like population, reservation, these are very complex areas. So you have to appreciate that as an administrator. You will be landing up at your UPSC interview in some, say, 5 years down the line. You are in class 9th, 3 years to 12th, and then 3 years for your undergrads. So moderation is something Arnav and Mehak, I think they pursued for the civil services, where downtrodden people are coming in, people coming for government roles, the compassion part of it all. Unnati in her own class, she is great. मुझको भैया फॉरेन सर्विस बनना है, मेरा जॉब रोल इतना है, तो यू हैव टू ऑलवेज सी कि मुझे अपने जॉब रोल के अनुसार अपने को ढालना है. दैट इज वेरी गुड. आई लव ट्रैवल. पीपल विल से, ओ शी विल बी अ ग्रेट डिप्लोमेट. इतना ही काम करना है, लंचेस अटेंड करने हैं, डिनर्स अटेंड करने हैं, जोर का झटका धीरे से भी देना है, तो शी कैन जस्ट गो एज अ नाइस डिप्लोमेट wearing her sari, ceremonial one. Oh, this is what my prime minister says, Mr. Ambassador. And she will get her Madam Secretary. Like, you might all be watching these serials. Like Dr. Surbi said, we have to start looking ourselves as civil servants in whatever domain we go. For example, if you have seen Madam Secretary, it's a hell lot of a serial. which talks about the global diplomacy from a US perspective. But then the lady who is occupying that, you can learn a lot from that, Unnati. If you so try to search in your entertainment is fine, but then link it up with your learnings, as I think Arnav said. He said that I am learning a lot from the lives, their interviews, and all that stuff. I think Keith was also mentioning about that. So this forum was just to ignite that spark. It is not a contest, though we modeled it as a contest. This is a contest with yourself. This aspiration, this seed, what you have woven in yourself, we wish and we really hope and pray that it nurtures into a giant banyan tree, and we would be most elated when you qualify for your civil services examinations whenever they happen. We wish you all the luck, and we invite you to the Public Services Forum. Let me share with you the slider of it to New Delhi. Earlier it was not proposed, but then if you can make it in person to India International Center, we will send you a formal invite to this Education as a Public Service Forum.
Yes,
On
we would
UN
really
Public Service Day, 23rd of June. The program would start from 2:15 p.m. We'll send a formal mail to you. So we would like to felicitate you amidst the galaxy of eminent civil servants, public servants from all areas, the young, budding, aspirational ones over there. Because see, character is molded at this very young stage itself. After that, it is all intellect. But integrity is something what I think Mehak has shown, I think Unnati has shown. This is the integrity to the values what are being instilled in you. This is what make you. And Keith, you all have shown that. Preserve that integrity of yours and just build upon the layers of intellect, the layers of knowledge, whatever is required to compete. Competition is also important, because until or unless you compete in that long race, I think what Keith showed, until or unless you win that, you would not be allowed, you would not be given that position. But then the whole idea was, would you be a very efficacious public servant? I think all of you would be, in whatever domains what you have chosen as you aspire to be. But then it is a longish journey. You have to keep aspiring and perspiring. Aspiration is fine, but then perspiration, you have to keep developing yourself in myriad ways, and ours was one of the small ignition points, whatever we can call so. So Dr. Surabhi, closure of today's lovely, enlightening presentations, and I think I can straight away say that the PPT of Arnav is a kind of a reference note. Wherever he did it, he should share his secret sauce, but very knowledgeable from an academic perspective. And Mehak, for that matter, was very touching.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for being.
Dr. Surabhi, yeah.
So I would like to congratulate all our budding, I think, would-be civil servants, public service professionals, and we would seek your gracious presence, all of you, on 23rd of June at Indian International Center in New Delhi. It would be our privilege and honor to see the young, budding professionals, aspiring professionals to be felicitated and, to meet you all. And I wish you all the very best for your journeys, for your career.
So you can come with your parents or faculty member. You're all because they are partners, they are the mentors, really mentors over there. So have discussions. One tip of advice, like your aspirations are something which need expression, because the more you will express your aspiration, you would really develop yourself. You will chisel yourself, and your homes, your schools are the greatest laboratories for that matter. Learn from each other, collaborate with each other.
Yes.
And it will, and we really wish you all the best. And it was just a serendipity that today only the UPSC, I would say, prelims happened. So that stress factor is fine, but these core values, what you all have presented phenomenally well. I think on the compassion index, Mehak was the highest. And when it comes to the all balanced ones, a very, very profound one. So I think we can all fall back upon Arnav. बॉस तुम्हारे notes हमको दे दो यार, हम लोग इससे use कर लेंगे. Lot to learn for all of us from there, and learn from Unnati, her focus, very focus, the diplomatic focus, ना इधर ना इधर, एक शब्द, बिल्कुल well manicured statements, That is what a diplomat is all about.
Very important.
So, and Keith has shown that energy, that commitment, that verve, I think.
Also, the passion and sharpness which Keith you have
Yes.
demonstrated is worth adulating and emulating. And I'm sure you'll carry it a lot. Your spirit of service, your passion, your zeal is phenomenal. And I think each one, you are.
That attitude to service, I think, got reflected the most in Keith.
Yes.
Generally, people जिनके पास ज्यादा सर्विस करने का एटीट्यूड होता है ना, people mistake themselves. अरे ये तो हमारे अच्छा करना चाहता है ना, we don't want to get it done. So that's where I suggested learn a bit of diplomacy on the. So you want to do great to people, but then that greatness has to be shown. Like doctors जो इंजेक्शन लगाते हैं बच्चे को, तो उसका ध्यान भटकाते हैं. Oh नहीं, maybe it is just a small thing. So that's where public services, like dealing with commoners, getting them in their lives some happiness out there. So thank you guys. Thank you for enlightening us. Thank you for really informing us. It was a great learning session from you all. And I would request Arnav, if you can email your presentation and each one of you, so that we can put it on the portal as well. So this was what I transgressed. So that would be really lovely. So we'll send you the formal mail and see you on 23rd, the next Sunday at India International Center. If you can really make it, it would be really, we would be really encouraged to have you over there. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Have a lovely
Thank you so much.
Thank you.